Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are logging in from. So, welcome to another session of our Success Factor Architectural Leading Practices. In this entire series, you might be knowing that in the SAP Success Factor, we are planning to cover all the 17 tracks. And one of the major track is after understanding the processes in Success Factor, in the track number 1. The second one is actually your track number 2, where we'll be capturing all the leading practices from a all product point of view. So in that series, if you have seen, we are now completed 2 episodes of it. Actually, the first one was related to the organization structure. Second one was actually covered in the 2 episodes because it was a very lengthy topic, and it was all about instant strategy. And if you have not watched all these things, just go to my YouTube channel and you can go from there. The easiest way to go to the channel, actually, you can find out from here, the main channel, main link tree. Go to my link tree account, and from there I have everything for you in one place. So here, simply go to the subscribe my YouTube channel, and from that you can go and watch the video. Okay, if you have missed out any of the previous sessions, then so this is a community sessions. So this is open for everyone. So you will be finding those sessions directly from here. And in case you have missed it, you will be finding those in the architectural leading practices. So you'll be finding that, right? So you just watch, and you have any question, you can always ask me in my community portal. And if you do not have an access to the community portal, definitely I would recommend to join the community. And how you can do that? So directly you can go here, and you will be able to prompt it here, and you will be entering to a school.successlabsacademy.com. So that will be the my learning management system. And inside that, we have a community section, right? So if you go to the community section, there is also an option to ask any questions there, right? This is the easiest way to interact with all the people who are logging into the different part of the world. And we have, for every module, we have a Q&A kind of stuff, right? And these are part of the same membership program, and you can go there, and what are the modules you have questions specific to your, suppose we're talking about ALP related to this architectural leading practices related to the employee central, then you can go there and you can simply go there and ask questions directly from there. So you'll be having a sections like ask me anything like this, and you can ask your questions directly from there. Now, without any further ado, let's move on to the today's topic. So today's we are going to cover what are the leading practices for a RBP point of view? What are the role-based permission framework, right? So already you might be knowing all those stuff in the earlier sessions, or if you have already a SuccessFactor certified consultant, definitely you must have gone through those platform fundamentals, right? So inside that, you must have seen RBP. So today we'll be going to do a quick recap on that. Then we will be proceeding further, how we can proceed further, right? So now let's understand the permission framework at a high level. So what is an RBP? So you might have known that every product, whether it is SAP or any other product, we do have a specific role in the product, right? So when it comes to HR system, typically we do have roles like employees, managers, HR administrators, and all, right? And this RBP is actually, it is a suite-wide authorization model. So I have a question for all of you. There are 2 things comes into picture whenever we're talking about any kind of a security framework in typically. So I will just say, let's say security framework. Okay. So inside that, let's say we are having the RBP feature. Okay. Role-based permission we're talking about. So maybe you will be having 2 questions here. You might have heard 2 terminology, authentication and another is an authorization. So it may be people may get confused, but a task for all of you. Okay, if you're watching this live on the YouTube, you may have to answer what are the key difference between authorization. Authorization, you might have heard a lot in SAP HCM and any other product, right? Authorizations, another terminology you will be finding here, authorization versus authentication. So you may have to answer, and I will check out after the video is over. I will check out the comment, and we will check how you're responding. So this is a key question for today. Question of the day: authorization and authentication. What are the key difference? You have to tell, and you have to write in the. If you're watching it from YouTube, you have to answer in the comment section, or if you're watching it from my If it is you are watching the recorded version of it in my platform, then you have to answer in the comment section or a community section. Okay. So with that question, we will be proceeding further. So we have, as we know, that it is a suite-wide authorization model. Okay, that is applicable for majority of our SuccessFactors products. Okay, so there is a key definition of a typical RBP. It is a suite-wide authorization model. So the key definition, suppose somebody will be asking maybe in an interview or like that, what is the typical definition of an RBP? You will be saying that the suite-wide authorization model for SuccessFactors, majority of the SuccessFactors products. Right? There are exceptions, but yeah, suite-wide authorization model in SF. Okay. So this is your typical definition of your RBP. So this was the question of the day. You have to answer that. So I will just putting it as like this, QOD, that is QOD. Question of the day was, what the key difference between authorization and authentication? Let me put it here. And definition wise, this is the definition we have understood that definition of an RBP suite-wide authorization model in SuccessFactors. Okay, so this is a typical standard definition as per the ALT guide, right? And it will be applicable for whatever the roles we're defining, right? So that's the thing. Okay. So now what are the components? We'll try to understand what are the different components of an RBP. So we have a permission group, permission role, right? So that again, we are going to put it here, like here. So let's say RBP. First of all, we have discussed the definition of this definition. And let me put it out here. Cut here, definition. Then we'll try to understand the components of an RBP, right? What are the different components of RBP? So we'll try to understand from here. Components. So in the component sections, we are seeing roles and groups. Okay. So, and accordingly, the definition will come up. Permission role, permission groups, and also that we will be going to explore now at the next level. So roles and groups, what does it mean? Roles is basically set of permissions and groups actually set of employees. Okay, so let's say roles, that is basically your set of permissions. Okay, and permissions can be anything, right? So it can be your view permission, right? Then it can be write permission. It can be anything, right? Similarly, so I'm just putting it here like this. Set of permissions. Groups means your set of employees, right? So groups, we will be having a set of employees who will be participating in that activity. Set of people, or I will say. Okay, employees or people, yeah. So this is the typical definition. Now coming down to, from an RBP point of view, we have two components, roles and groups. And accordingly, your permission group and permission roles, whatever will be, yesterday also I have shown to some extent. You can practice that as well, right? So now this is, there are different components and who can do what. Suppose I'm a manager, okay? And I'm a part of the group of managers in an organization. And let's say we are only able to access few, we are permitted to see or access some of the reports, but or access some of the employee critical information, but we're not able to edit it. Maybe the administrators who are having another set of another group of people, administrators, that they are having the right permission, right? Then they should be able to write, means they should be able to edit whatever the your data point of view. They can do that. Right. So in this way, we can understand. And it is again not only very unique to SuccessFactors. In any product you say it, whether it is a Google Cloud product or Microsoft, any other product, everywhere similar concept you will be finding here, nothing different, right? So this is how we have to understand. Hope this is clear, roles and groups, right? Now, with that background, with that foundation, now we'll be trying to understand what is a permission group, right? So what we can do, we can group all the employees who will do the similar tasks, right? Let's say we have a similar, when I say similar task, so let's say those set of managers, set of senior managers, set of consultants, right? Or set of all the HR people, set of all finance people, that the example can be numerous, right? So we can group them together and we can create a permission group accordingly, right? So this is a typical definition of a permission group. And the examples, as I have said here, so there are some other examples also they have given. Maybe all the employees of your organization, maybe they will be part of your employee self-service, ESS, right? All the managers, they can be part of your MSS service, let's say manager self-service. Okay, they can be another permission group, right? Similarly, all the learning administrators, they will be part of a particular group. There can be a particular permission group for them dedicated, right? So these are the different examples of a permission group. You can see that here. It is very simple to understand. And typically the definition says it is a set of employees who share the common attributes such as, this is just an example, job code, and require access to the similar set of tasks in the system. Okay. So this is how now we will be trying to connect the dot. We have understood that in the RBP, we have two components, roles and groups. Groups is nothing but set of people. And from group, actually, the concept of permission group is coming up. Okay, so concept of permission group. Now we understood, right? So these are the group set of people of similar category who are having the similar attributes and who will be performing the similar roles, and they will be performing the similar tasks on a day-to-day basis, right? So that is how the permission group concept actually now evolved from here, right? So now it is again very easy to understand. If you have any questions still in mind, feel free to ask. Okay. Okay. So shall we next move to the next one? Yeah. So now coming to the next segment, actually, this is again a permission role. Whenever I'm saying a role, as I have mentioned, it is a set of activities or set of tasks which the employee will be performing. It can be creating a report, deleting a report, downloading a report, viewing a report, right? And those are again grouping together a set of permission as we have discussed earlier, right? So you can create a permission role, and it can be set of a transaction or a task that employees perform in an organization. Maybe you are an employee. You will be responsible for your logging in your system and updating your timesheet on a regular basis. Okay, and also downloading your payslip or at checking your LMS, and a lot of permissions should be required, right, for a typical for any employee. Okay, similarly, suppose you are a recruiter, you will be responsible for hiring an employee, and you will be performing a lot of activities like starting from creating the job requisitions to your interview scheduling, offer letter generation, a lot of activities. So those all kind of set of permissions, it can be clubbed together, and that can be called as a permission role. And again, this is a concept not new. Actually, this is again concept. The permission role concept actually comes from here. So concept of, we'll try to recap here. So concept of permission role. Okay. Coming from here in this category. Okay. So now we'll be trying to giving some examples so that it will be very, very clear. Example. So in the permission group, the examples, what examples we have seen, like your ESS, that is set of employees doing a similar kind of a thing, MSS, an employee manager set of, then learning administrator. Okay, these are a couple of examples which we can cite here, but there can be many more examples. So administrators. Similarly, when it comes to the permission roles, we will be having access like this. Let's say example can be like edit employee data, or it can be your create job requisition by a recruiter, right? The example can be anything, right? So this is like, I will say that again, these are all the set of permissions you should be having, right? And this is how hire employee, view employee. There are many more examples you can see here, right? So these are the different examples actually for permission role and permission group. So now what we do next? So once your roles are ready, once your groups are ready, what you do next? Okay, so we do not assign, generally is the best practice, we do not assign those permissions and all directly to the employee. Rather, what we do, we create those roles and we assign those roles to the groups actually. Okay, let's say you are having a role which is having this set of this 4 permission. Okay, so let's say editing a compensation, editing a job title, creating a report, and resetting a password. Let's say the other 4 permission you are having, and you are actually this role should be assigned to a administrator, right? So now we will be having an administrator group, and in that, what we can do, so we can assign that simple, your typical that set of that a particular role, you have to grant that access to the particular group. Okay, so this is how you, after you defining and creating those permission roles and permission group, whatever is required for your organization, you have to use your role to grant access to your groups, and it will be giving the access to the transaction features perform their work or duty. So whatever the people, the set of users, set of administrators who are given that access, all of them will be able to directly perform all those permissions, all the activities or tasks, whatever has been assigned to that particular role. So this is how, once we do this, we generally what we do, once your roles are ready. Okay, so I'll just make it as a green. So once we understood this, right, I will make it a green. That okay, so now what we have done, so in this, we understood that this part is now over, right? So now we understood, once the roles are ready, now next we understood permission group and groups, and inside that again, what we have done, let me color code it also to for better visibility and understanding. Yeah. So now we are ready with our permission roles and permission group. Now the permission roles will be assigned to a group, your permission group. The next activity after understanding the components in the RBP. So assignment, assign what we assign. So assigning roles to groups. Okay, so when I say roles and groups, actually this is the permission roles and permission group. Do not get confused. Okay, so this is the next activity generally we perform here, assigning roles to groups. So once it is done, what is the next? Yeah, so there's another thing which you have to understand, defining a target group. Okay, so even if what is the concept of a target group, but because whenever you are deciding or creating any permissions, you have to always define the target population. So the target population can be the examples. I will be giving some examples here. Let's say you are a global administrator for SuccessFactor module, and you do have also local administrators, let's say one sitting in Denmark, another local administrator is in let's say Brazil, another one in let's say in Atlanta, US, another one is sitting from Gurugram, India, right? So you have 4 different administrators, but you might be having a similar kind of a permissions, but your target population can be different. People, the administrator who is sitting in your Denmark, even if he's having all the permission, let's say edit compensation, edit job title, create report, reset password, but he will be performing those activities not for all the employees, only for the people, the population who belong to that Denmark country. Okay. Similarly, the population who the administrator who is sitting in actually in Brazil, the local administrator, he will be having the target population only to the employees who are belonging to Brazil, right? And similarly, same is applicable for your Atlanta and India, right? So what the example which I have cited, so let me explain that more in a mind map as well, the concept of target group. So many times people get confused, people who starting new, concept of target group. So do not get confused. This is a little different. It is not your permission group. It's a concept of target group, which I try to show you in an example. Let's say example I was giving that, let's say you are having your company, let's say company name is OneEd, just a hypothetical company. And in that company, you are having let's say one super admin. Super admin will be having all that because he's a global super admin. So he will be the means he or she will be having the target group will be the entire population of the one head, the company, the hypothetical company one head. So global super admin you will be having one. Then let's say I say 4 local admin. Okay, and let's say they are geographically different. Okay, let's say. So what I will recommend after this, actually, you can create this. Okay, this is an assignment for you. Create a scenario like this where you will be having similar kind of permission, but you will be having one global super admin and 4 local admin. So local admin one can you take it from a Denmark. Second one you can take it as a, let's say, US in general. Third one you can take it as an India. Fourth one you can take it as a Brazil. Okay, so you are having these 4 countries. Just to make it sure, let me try something here. Adding images. Denmark. Okay, we have pictures as well. Denmark flag. Yeah. So yeah, this is a Denmark flag. I've got the understanding. I will put it here like this. Yeah, this is the right flag. Yeah. This is your country, Denmark. One is Denmark. Second one, as I say, this is an assignment for all of you people who are watching live or you are watching the recording. So one is a Denmark, second is US. I'm just putting here. Yeah. Second one is the US. Third one is India. So you have 4 local administrators. The target group will be the different. So just to make sure. So you are simultaneously creating with me while I'm just capturing this picture. And let me put it here. India. India flag. Yeah, so next one is Brazil. So these are the 4 local administrator and they are having a specific country target group. Okay, the target population. So you have to accordingly create, and how to create it again, you have to apply some thought process and let me know. Okay, so Brazil, the last one is Brazil. Let it be. Okay, so now this is the task for you, and you can try, and you have to understand with that that assignment. You'll be able to understand how, and you have to test it. Actually, what you can do for a testing point of view, how will be testing it? I'm just giving some hint. So you try someone from India, means local admin, and you try logging in as a local administrator from India, and you try to access some employees who belonging to other 3 countries, US, Denmark, or Brazil, whether you are able to perform that or not. Okay, that's a test case. Similarly, the same thing you can also repeat it for other countries as well. Okay, so that is a testing point of view I have just given, how to understand the concept of the target group. Okay, so in this way, this will be helping you. And global super admin, he will be having the entire access, so you don't have to worry much for that. So for this all employee, the target population will be all the employees across wherever the company is having its presence. So he will be access to the entire wherever the country, whichever part of the country we are having, like when the organization is having the presence, right? So I'm just putting like this global map. Yeah. Yeah. So this is your concept of a target group, and we understood. And now let's move on to the next one. So defining the target groups. So now what we can do, this target group also can be assigning target group to a permission role. Okay, so whenever, for every, as I was saying, right, if you're having an admin role and you can be given that particular, right, target populations, and you'll be given that particular access. So this is nothing much different. And this is again a similar kind of an example. It has been given here. Sujan is an HR admin, Carla is an employee. So Susan needs to report on employee new hire information. So what are the different things are here? So we have different user group here. Like one is HR admin, North America user group. You are having EMEA user group. You have having global user group. Similarly, we have in a, okay. So the employee categories also, if you see, we have an employee specific group for North America, EMEA, and other things, right? Global one, right? And what does it do? This HR reporting role, it will define access to reporting tools and activities HR is allowed to do independent of the user group or target group. One permission role works for multiple scenarios. So this is again a very good scenario where again, you don't need to create multiple things, but one permission role you can create and it can be applicable to multiple scenarios, right? So this is again a very good example. Now just to recap what we have understood today. So we try to create, means basically understood the groups, the permission group, permission roles, and the groups are nothing but your employees is similar kind of a task and attributes. Roles are nothing but set of permissions, and we understood how to assign those groups to your roles, and the target groups also we have understood. Okay. So with this note, actually, we understood that create a permission group before creating. This is a very good point, because whenever you are creating this kind of a configuration, you have to ensure that you have to create a permission group first, then you have to create the permission role. Okay. So that during role creation, whenever you are creating any role, you have to select, you should be able to select a particular group. Okay. So that's the thing. Okay. And in addition, you need to define groups and roles that require any kind of any target population, because if it is target population is for the entire employee or for the entire organization, then you have to define that. Then you have to assign those specific things. Okay. So now the steps from a configuration point of view, the configuration will be again, because it's an architectural reading practice session. Okay. So we're not bothered about those how to configure and all. That will be in a different sessions. That will be a part of your implementations and all. But for the time being, I'm just saying that what are the key steps you have to follow whenever you are doing this kind of an activity, right? So the key steps will be, typically you will be having, you should be able to create your group first, as it is recommended there. Create groups, create permission group rather. Permission group. Then create permission roles. Create permission roles. Then finally you have to create your grant the permission role. Basically, it means assign your permission role wherever it is needed to the target, means your assign your specific role, grant the permission basically. So in our language we will write here, so assign permission roles to groups. To permission group. Then assign target group as well. Target group is applicable. Okay. So there's the core. We did a little bit different, but it is the same thing. These are the key major steps we generally pursue in whenever you are performing this kind of an activity. And towards the end, actually, we will be seeing how to do all these things. So we'll quickly see that as well. Assigning target group as applicable. Now, after understanding this is a quick recap of the permission and all. So now, before we move to the other topic, so this one we'll be covering in the next session. So just before we complete our session, we'll be going to an activity, and I will also recommend to do this activity of your own. So let me go there. So where we can practice all these things, if you're having your SuccessFactors instance, it's well and good. Otherwise, you can also practice them in the simulation file. So all the simulations are also available. So you can just go there. Let's say, I'll not be going to the home pages and all, but there are a few things I'm just checking it out where it is there. So we have to go to the task tutorial, and inside that, I think it is in the platform. Just a minute, let me check it out. Yeah, this is all actually specific to EC, but let me check it out. It should be ideally part of the platform fundamental. Let me check out. Employees and platform administration, yes. So here, if I go here, inside that, yesterday also we have covered, but here these are the activities you can perform, right? Creating a permission role, permission group, grant the permission role. These are the 3 activities you have to perform, as I say, right? So we do not have an activities for target population, but here I think it will be covered here only. So creating a permission group, just to go here. So how to people who are new to this, you can also check it. It will take just only 2 minutes to cover it. So you have to go to the SuccessFactors instance, and from there, simply in the top, there will be search options. And inside that, you search for permission groups, manage permission group. Okay, that because as you have suggested, it is recommended, not recommended, it's a must actually. So you have to create the permission group first. Okay, so you have to, how to create a group? So you simply go to the manage permission group from here, right? Once you go here, you'll be getting a screen like this, and inside that, there will be an option called create new. Click that. Okay. After that, you give your name, your specific name, what are the group name you want to give it, right? So here you have to give that name. Suppose I'm giving a sales, right? So I will give this name is sales, and next one, I will choose, pick a category from here, maybe based on the department I'll be choosing. Okay. So after that, simply I will pick that particular department, that's a sales. Okay. And this is a criteria. Okay. So it can be also possible that suppose you are having a group of people coming from different departments. In that case, you may have to choose that particular user IDs, and you have to bring them, you have to create a group like that. Okay. But if you're having a common criteria like this, based on department, based on division, based on locations, based on country, so all those things can be, you can explore all the options, and based on that, you can also create these groups. Okay. So why I say that you have to create a group first, because whenever you are creating a groups, and again, whenever you are in the next step, whenever you're creating a roles, you can call these groups to that particular roles. So that's the thing why it is needed to create a group first. Okay. So this is the way you have to create the group very quickly. It's very super easy. And in a project again, so you have to do it once, unless and until if there is any new group is coming up, or any new scenarios or new requirement is coming up. Otherwise, this is the quick steps, very super easy steps to create the permission group. Okay. So now with that understanding, we will move on to the next exercise again. So creating a permission role. So I'm repeating this why, because this is a very important activity. Yesterday also we have seen in this instance strategy whenever I was talking about it. So just to make sure you are able to perform this very basic stuff, right? So now similarly, whenever you are going to create a role, simply search for manage permission roles, search for permission role in the search bar. You'll be finding manage permission role. And from there, you have to go and you have to create a new role, like similar kind of a step, follow create new and give the role name as usual. Then after that, this is an important step. What are the permissions you are going to give to that particular role? Okay. So you have to tick those box. What are the roles you are giving, right? Then give setup permission. As I was saying, roles are nothing but a setup permission, and groups are nothing but your set of employees, right? So you have to give those specific access, specific, then save the changes, whatever we are done. Then once you are done, so next step is basically you have to perform the assignment. Okay, assignment of your grant permission role to a permission group. So again, this is a very easy one. So within 10-15 minutes, you should be able to do or perform all the things. It's very super easy activity. So what you have to do again, go to the permission role, and from that role, like here in this example, the sales role has been already created, right? So in that role, the third step you will be seeing after permission setting, the third step, grant role, right? And there is an add button here. simply click that. You have to grant that role to a permission group. So whenever you are selecting the drop down from here, the permission group which you have created earlier, if you remember, right? So that will be populated here. If you have not created, it will not be populated, right? So that is the why it is recommended. It is a must to create the permission group first, then you have to come to the permission role, right? So then during the while creating the permission role, you will be getting an option to select that permission group. Okay. So from here, you have to select that permission group. Okay. So once we select that, let's say we have already created that particular sales group, right? Simply select that and then proceed further, right? Select done, right? Then the next step, target population is granted. So I'll just go one step back. So you can see the target population. Actually, there are two options here. One is everyone, and the second one is target population of. So now you might be having questions. The exercise which I have given to you just 5 minutes before. So that was the exercise which I have told to configure this local administrator, right? So what will be the local target population? You have to again search from here the target population based on the country. Again, you choose that particular countries. Okay. So if you are facing any difficulties or challenges, just let me know. Okay. So it is super easy, but you have to perform that exercise. You don't have to create something else. So from here, that particular role which you have created, and from that role, you have to go and you have to select that particular target population. If it is for everyone, let's say you are creating for the that global administrator, right? So global super administrator, then in that case, you have to give the target population as all the employees. Okay? So that's the difference. So now I think you understood the concept. And also we tried to simulate all those things in our system. Then, okay. So now with that understanding, we will move on. So you have to just save changes. Do not forget to click that save changes button because it is not automatically saved, right? You have to understand. So once it is done, so this is how the typical process works. Okay. So now with that note, we will stop here because role-based permission is again a very big topic. Maybe we will be covering in another 2 episodes. We'll be able to complete it. So just to have a quick recap what we have understood today. So now today we'll just try to understand in the today's session that what is a RBP or role-based permissions, which is again a part of your HXM security concept, or you can say, so let's say, I will just make it a color so that it will be marked as a done for today. So yeah, so role-based permission, and inside that what we have seen, right? So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things, 5 things actually we have understood. Okay. The first thing is actually, this is a task which I have said that question of the day, authorization, authentication, you have to tell me the difference in the next session. And the definition, what we understood is suite-wide authorization model and success factor. Called RBP, we call in short, we call it RBP. Okay. And the component wise, we have seen for the different components, the roles and groups. Roles are nothing but setup permissions. Okay. The examples also I have given here. It is not limited to view and write. This is just an example just to avoid confusion. What I'm going to do, I will be just giving an making another node here. These are example of permission. Okay. So examples can be anything. So, but just I'll make it sure. I'll cut here. Cut and paste here. Yeah. So now I think this clear, more clarity. So roles are nothing but set of permissions, and the concept of permission roles actually, okay, coming from here. Okay, the concept of roles only. Okay. Now after understanding this, so now components, what are the different components? Roles and groups. Okay, we have seen. This is also understood. And in the groups are nothing but set of people. Okay, set of people means actually the example. Basically, you will be having your yeah. So here I forgot to give the example. So now during recap, I remember example can be your basically again set of employee, then set of managers, set of learning administrators, set of recruiters. Depends. That's the list is endless. So what are the roles you are having in your organizations? Basically, those set of people you can club together and you can make those examples. Right? So this is a group is nothing but a set of people. So this is now I try to explain. Now concept of a permission group again. So this is again derived from the concept of a groups only. So we have set up people. So now we club together them and like employee self-service, manager self-service, learning administrators, again a recruiter can also have a recruiter like this. Okay. So we can create a group like this, and inside that we give those permissions as required. Okay. So this is how it is. So we'll just make it as a simplified employee managers. So accordingly, because to make it symmetry, I have given the same example. So set of learning administrators, set of employees, set of recruiters, and same thing whenever you are creating a permission group also, so that it will be aligned. Okay. So ESS, MSS, employee self-service, manager self-service, it can be recruiters, then your learning administrators, right? So with that understanding, we understood the key components of an RBP. Now coming to the next part, assigning roles to groups. This is also we have seen in the third exercise, which we have seen in the simulation today. Super easy. The last but one is the concept of target group, which again I try to explain, which is given a 4 countries example, which I have given, which is again a task for you to understand, although I have shown you in the system, how to achieve that in the whether it is working or fine or not. And we have talked about hypothetical company name was OneEd. So company, so let's say that is a hypothetical company. And in that company, let's say we are having one global super administrator and one is having a local administrator, right? And in that, I have given an example, like you have to create a permission group, and accordingly you have to create target groups like this, and you have to understand, you have to test it whether it is that your concept of a target group is whether it is working fine or not. Okay, so that is the homework for you, all of you, and you can try and let me know if you are facing any challenges there. I don't think there will be any challenges, but just for your understanding, okay, you can experiment about it, and accordingly we will see. Okay, so let's say so we'll just fine tune this one, this organization. Let's say this is a company. This company is OneEd, and that company OneEd is having one global super admin and 4 local admin, and in that you have to do this exercise, right? Now, with that understanding, the last step was the hands-on, which we have seen key steps. These are the 4 key steps you have to perform: create permission group, create permission role, assign permission roles to permission groups, assign target group is applicable. Okay. So with that note, today's sessions we have completed. And in the next session, what we're going to do, next sessions in the same, this is what we call as a 2A, just like 2A, 2B, we have a 3A, 3B, 3C like that. Okay. So episode today was a 3A. And in the next session, we will be going more into towards basically the governance part and whatever the part which is left out. Okay, so more of a security components we will be seeing from a governance point of view. So like in instance management, instance strategy also, we talked about the instance strategy in instance governance actually. So that was the second session was all about the governance. So similarly, security governance we were talking about. Okay, this is the right term actually. So we understood the security strategy today. And tomorrow we'll be going to start with the security governance. Okay, so security governance, that is the right term actually. Security governance. We'll try to understand conceptually and what are the do's and don'ts, what are the best practices. UVRNN governance. Yes. Yeah. So this is the thing. Now, as we have completed today's episode, so I'll just mark it as a green and done. Okay, strategy. Okay, so see you tomorrow again. We'll continue with the security governance, and if you have any question, definitely you can ask in the platform. Otherwise, if you're watching in YouTube, you can also ask in the comment section. I'll try my best to answer. Thank you very much for joining in. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.